Okay, so we are here live. We're doing our Rosé All May tasting for the second week, which is the Wolffer Estate Finca Rosé. It's a beautiful, bottle, very unique shape. It is an Argentine rosé, and I'll give you a little bit of information before. I'm not going to give you any of the official tasting notes, but it is 41% Malbec. And I know I personally have a lot of Malbec fans in my followers. It's also 17% Pinot Noir, 17% Syrah, 10% Cab Sauv, and it goes on and on from there, but mostly Malbec. So
Yeah,
that's a little bit of insight on that. And Lauren's gonna take us through the deductive tasting method again this week.
I am. And I'm just pinning your handle so people know to follow you
Oh, thanks.
on mine. And perfect. Yeah. Okay. So happy Friday or happy Friday.
Yay!
Yeah. If
Yes.
you're celebrating or if it's your Monday, happy Friday anyways. You've only got 5 more days. Uh, all right. So this wine is pale pink. It's a really nice, kind of in between that old world and Californian color rosé, I'd say.
Yeah.
Um, but coming from Argentina, it is New World, and I love that there's Malbec in this. So we're going to kind of deduce wine in 4 simple steps here by looking at the wine, by smelling it, by then tasting it. And then if we get through all those steps, okay, we're going to think about the wine and we're going to kind of give our final consensus on quality and what we would pair it with. So the first thing that we're going to do as looking at the wine is we're going to swirl it. So this is swirling or aerating the wine, and this is so you can do a couple of things. One, for this step is to see the legs, see how they trickle down the glass, to see what the residual wine is like on the bulb. And then the other thing is for step 2, which is smell. But right now we're just looking at the legs. And so I don't know if you live viewers can see here some of that residual wine here. So the legs,
You can kind of see it on my glass up here.
yeah. So they kind of they're kind of thin and watery and kind of slower, I'd say, but pretty watery looking, right? So that kind of tells me that this wine could be either cool or warm climate. It's hard to say on this one. Typically when the legs are kind of more syrupy, I like to say that it's from a warmer climate. And when they're kind of more watery, I'd like to say it's from a cooler climate. And the reason why is because cooler climate is tends to have higher acid wines and tends to have wines that are a little bit lower in alcohol and lower in sugar, if that makes sense. But since we already kind of know that the climate is Argentina, I mean, they have some microclimates like with any country. So anyways, I don't know, what color would you say this wine is?
Definitely the peach, like you were saying. A really pretty, like blush,
Yeah,
not pink,
right.
because it has sort of like that tangerine hue to it. But
Yeah. And I always like hold it over something white and look through
yeah,
it too. And it has kind of a watery rim, which leads me to believe that this wine is pretty young. So the watery rim usually means that the wine is young, and like more of an orangey rim means like the wine is aged. Yeah, I'm getting peach, coral,
yeah, coral.
something
I definitely see
the
the
walls
coral.
with even.
Yep.
Okay, let's smell it.
Okay, it's my favorite part.
Yeah, I know, mine too.
I've had this wine a couple times, so
Oh,
I,
you have?
this is one of my go-tos for hosting tastings. I just think I love the Gerard Bertrand Côte de Roses, but it's becoming
Yeah.
so prevalent that this is like my next in the shoot in terms of
Yeah.
introducing.
That rosé, if I could just talk about it for a second, that Côte de Roses rosé, by the way, is seriously my favorite wine. Like,
I
it's
have a
not
new.
even, I mean, I think it's one of my favorite wines, like not even rosé.
It is fantastic, and I have something I'm going to introduce in a couple of weeks. Well, I guess next week. Next week I'm going to get it. And
Oh, wow.
product of the bottle. So
Oh my God, I'm excited. So, Smell. Do you want to talk about maybe two or three fruits that you get?
So I personally think the predominant fruit is the snooty word in wine terms is stone fruit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, but I don't like to say that. I think it's peach. Like to me, it's peach.
Oh, yeah. I get peach.
But my favorite that I get from this, and I haven't gotten it from everybody, like when I introduce it to people when they're tasting it, is like clementine or tangerine.
Mm.
And it's probably one of the only rosés that I've gotten that.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I like that. I get like the citrus pith or the citrus zest. Um,
yes,
Not necessarily like the sweetness of the fruit, but like the pith, the oily essence. Like if
yeah,
you, I bartended for years and we'd always freshly zest clementines or oranges and you
yes,
get those oils that extract and they really
yes.
pow in the
Mhm.
face. So I certainly get that. I'm getting a lot of florals on this as well. I'm getting like lilac and hyacinth and like white flowers, but very
Mhm.
fragrant flowers.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Stone fruit, I love that. And even like an apricot jam
I
or
think you know what? I think apricot. It's not peach. It's apricot.
it's apricot. And I also get peach rings, like a freshly opened bag of like the trolley peach rings.
I like that.
And apricot for sure. And almost like an orange marmalade on the nose.
Yeah.
Like you almost get like you can almost smell a little bit of the bitter finish. Like if there was a bitter finish. I don't like to say that on wine, but you almost get like that, like the orange skin.
Yeah.
Let's taste it.
This is one of the wines I could really smell like all
Yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
just
And then when you swirl, people ask me all the time, like, why do you swirl? And it's you'd be surprised at the difference after aerating the wine by swirling and how much more nuanced aromas you get.
yep. I agree.
And this one I get
You
like
just
sarsaparilla.
breathe. Wait, what was it? Sarsaparilla?
Sarsaparilla. Yeah. Have you ever
Oh
had a
yeah.
sarsaparilla soda or a cream soda?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's like isn't that what comprises root beer? Like that's what gives
Yeah.
it.
That's what root beer is made out of, I think, sarsaparilla root.
That might be that finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good though.
Any non-fruits that you get?
Um, there's one there. I don't know if it's ginger or
Mm.
and it might be that sarsaparilla that you were saying, but it's an earthier.
Yeah, you're
Um,
so right.
I can't quite wrap my mind around like exactly what it is. It's an earthier, more herb like maybe.
Okay, so what I'm getting is like if you ever go to a playground and you get wood chips,
Yes.
like the wood chips that are around the slide in like the hot sun.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
smells like it's got some of that like chicory or wood chip kind of,
Yeah. I could see that.
yeah. Coffee lovers.
Uh,
Hi, coffee lover.
I have the official tasting notes in the background, and there's actually one that they just official tasting notes describe it as this. I don't think it's this. I think it's closer to what you and I are pulling out.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll share those in a minute.
Okay, yeah. So let's taste it and then let's go over
Okay.
what the official tasting notes say.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Definitely get that apricot peach.
It's definitely juicier than I thought it was going to be. And like
I think it's
juicier
that
in three
Malbec.
ways. Juicier as in higher in acid and more like mouth watering.
Yep.
But then also kind of like riper fruits than what I thought. So like not sweeter, but just riper. Coffee lovers asking what wine we're having, and this is the Wolffer Rosé. And if you like rosé, we're going to get into if we recommend it or not in step 4. We're on step 3, which is tasting it.
I think that juiciness is really the Malbec because
Mhm.
when I personally, whenever I have customers who are Malbec fans,
Mm.
um, I think they latch onto Malbec because of some of those really fruit forward, juicy traits, and that their palate can actually be described more broader and in other varietals, but Malbec is the best representation they can think of for that
Yeah.
palate. And it's fruit forward, juicy, not as full bodied and overpowering as like a Petit Syrah, but
Yeah.
they like those traits. And I really taste the Malbec in this. And I actually, for the, I mean, I've used this wine many, many times now in tastings, and I never knew it was Malbec based. And now that I know that, I feel like it's so insightful.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of rosés of Malbec.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. I mean, you can make a rosé out of any red wine grape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there aren't actual like just specific rosé grapes, which is
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people think. But yeah, and when I worked at Vino Volo in an airport, it's an airport wine bar. The most popular wine ordered was Malbec.
I love
And
it.
I think a lot of the times it's because it's the easiest wine to say, and people are afraid of being judged when they
Yeah.
order
Yeah.
certain wine. Like no one's going to order a Gewürztraminer on a menu. That's why you don't see it on a lot of wine lists, even though
Yeah.
it's a really great price point wine most of the time too. I
Yeah.
really believe there is a psychology in what people order, and Malbec is one of the most popular ordered wines in a bar or a restaurant because it's easy to
I believe it.
say.
Yeah. I mean, I think about gosh, I feel like it could be a whole different session, but lately I have been thinking a lot about where I have come in my wine journey and understanding wine and
Yeah.
understanding titles. And I do think that um, you don't even consider some of those wines because if you have no clue what that wine can even be compared to,
Yeah.
um, it's really hard to
Yeah, exactly. Like what
enjoy
would
it.
you compare a Malbec to?
Malbec is fruitier than a Cab Sauv. Like it's
Yeah.
more juicier, fruit forward. But it surprisingly has a lot of the fruit characteristics of like a Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
So I mean, but anyway, when I have someone who claims that they're like exclusively Malbec, it's pretty easy to introduce them to other wines that they love because
Hmm.
there's so many other options that are
I introduce people to red blends a lot.
yeah.
Um, because I just feel like Malbecs can tend to be easy and entry level wines, and that's not to say that's a bad thing at all. That's great.
Right.
I'm kind of basic in what I like is like I just know I always like rosé and other things, but it's kind of more entry level wine. It's easy to drink. The tannins aren't like crazy, punch you in the face. They don't suck your face dry of all your
Yeah.
saliva.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, they don't, it's not super, super dry. It's kind of got a little jammy component to it.
Yeah.
It tends to go well with a lot of different palates. And I see this as being a Malbec forward wine for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the palate I'm getting more lime and more acidity kind of driven fruits.
I get the grapefruit it is highly acidic.
Mm,
I mean, I wonder where it would fall on the spectrum, but I would say it's higher on the acidity, this rosé.
yeah.
That's what I associate with grapefruit because it does have that sharpness.
Yeah.
I have an appreciation for that. It can be a little startling.
Yeah. I like it. I do get a lot of grapefruit on it for sure. And the other thing I was going to say is like it's got some good body to it. It doesn't feel too
Mhm.
watery. It feels like it's got some weight. Like if
I
this
wanted to
were milk,
check.
you could be non-fat milk or you could be whole milk, and I would say this is like 2% or 1%.
Yeah. It doesn't say, which, of course, the one thing,
What, alcohol content?
12.3%. Okay.
Yeah.
That's definitely present. Like I felt like there was one taste I got in there that was like, "Ooh, okay, that's
Yeah.
not on that one." Um, but yeah. So should we
So what do you think? Do you
main
recommend
portion?
it for? What do you think about the quality, the finish?
So I do recommend, and I like it because I like incorporating a rosé in tastings just because there's that presumption. And last week we tasted a demi-sec that rosés are sweet. And so this is not a sweet wine. And it's got some body to it because that's the other thing a lot of people kind of
Yeah.
assume with rosés is like, okay, it's going to be thin. Well, not necessarily. So it's got a good body to it. It's got some unique characteristics. I think it's very similar to a Provence style. What do you think?
I think it's similar to Provence style. It's a little fuller and
Yeah.
body, in
Hmm.
my opinion, than most Provence style rosés that I've had. And also, I don't usually get all the grapefruit
Yeah.
tasting notes
Higher
on Provence
acidity.
style rosés.
Yep.
So, but it's not like Californian rosé either, where it's like all strawberry candy and all like red watermelon. This
Yeah.
one I'm getting more of like citrusy, pithy. So really like the perfect in between.
I feel like this is the rosé for like the Sauv Blanc Alvarinho lover.
Totally. Like minerality, dry.
Yes. But you still get the body, which is like, okay, that's a good balance. So I like it. I've introduced it to several wine tastings and I like it.
And the bottle is just beautiful.
It's a cool bottle. And what I think is also cool is and I have done all my research on this producer in particular, but the grapes are from Argentina, but I like that they're not Napa-based wineries. So they are all their sort of headquarters in the U.S. and tasting is all in New York. And
Oh, I didn't see that.
cool.
So they make their wine here, but they source their grapes from Argentina?
So I'd have to do more research, but I know the grapes are from Argentina, and all of their yeah, it's on Long Island, New York, and yeah, the grapes are from Argentina. So it's kind of cool. I think it's unique and just a little bit different with regards to the trends of having to be Napa or Sonoma based. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of cool.
Finca.
I think they
Cool.
have a tasting room in the Hamptons and but yeah.
So I would have this wine with melons and prosciutto. I don't know, like for some reason, I just want to have it with some like honeydew melon and prosciutto or cantaloupe and like some salty meats. That's
I
what's
like it.
really jumping off to me as a good pairing. What about you?
I think that's amazing. I am like totally in summer food theme, so I am like fish tacos all the way on this one.
Ooh, okay.
But I could totally see some like cured meats and prosciutto and maybe like some balsamic or some sort of like little light salad.
Yeah.
This would be really good.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really any hard and fast rules. I feel like if you wanted to have this with steak, you could drink it with steak and it wouldn't be that
Oh,
bad.
you could. You could.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just
But yeah,
there's
like
other wines
lighter,
that
like I tend to say like match kind of the body of the wine with the weight of the food.
mhm.
So yeah, fish tacos you'd be good.
Yep.
Grilled chicken, little cured meats, melon, kind of lighter fare would be good. But
Yeah.
I feel like, hey, if you like your rosé with steak, drink your rosé with steak.
This actually, as you were saying those foods, anything with bacon,
Yeah,
the acidity would kind of cut that fat and grease of the bacon.
yeah.
Really?
I see that too. Yeah. But like, here's the thing. Anything you like with something you like is gonna be great.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I mean, who doesn't like bacon?
Yep.
I'm a firm believer, and that's why they call it bacon. That makes no sense. But like everybody loves bacon. That's why they call it bacon.
Yep.
Um but I feel like this wine with bacon, like freak yeah, mess you up.
Well, and it's not one of those really like temperamental wines where like you try to pair it with something and it's just going to totally clash and you're not going to enjoy both. Like if like you said, if you love this wine and you love bacon, they're going to pair.
Yeah.
It's just in terms of what it actually would go well with bacon. So
You know what the hardest food to pair is?
chocolate. They say chocolate.
That's one of them. Yeah. So like bitter foods. So like if the chocolate is bitter, yeah. But like the one of the hardest things to pair is green vegetables. Like asparagus.
I feel like this would go, I would drink this with a salad with grilled chicken on top. Done.
Yeah, and I feel like this would go with one of the hardest foods to pair, which is like asparagus, artichoke, Brussels, like any like bitter greens are really hard to pair. And I feel like this wine would go really well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. Okay, so can I tell you the official
Please.
tasting notes?
Please tell me. We all want to know, what are the official tasting notes?
Everyone's on the edge of their seat. They want to know. All these people watching right now. We've got It's okay, people, calm down. So, in terms of the aromas, it is citrus, ripe berry, peach, and a hint of sun-dried grass.
That is so weird that I got sun-dried wood chips.
Yeah, I think the grass is getting to some of those like earthier traits that we were pulling out, like the root.
Yeah.
Ginger or sarsaparilla, is that what you said?
Sarsaparilla, yeah.
Yeah, that's where that was pulling from. Let me pull up the of course they didn't list any tastes, but I think they're just kind of the same.
I want to keep drinking it.
Well, I mean, we're going to, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, those proposals don't need to go out today. That's fine. They can wait till Monday.
It's Friday. Yeah. So anyway, that was it's good. It's a unique wine. Included in the shipment because it is not your go-to, Provence style that you can find anywhere. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Shoot, another thing I should have done, I'm pulling it up now, but was tell you what's next week, which it's kind of running around like a maniac before this.
Bye, Chicago Pinot.
I'm going to tell you, and next week, is the Santiago Rosé, and it is, I haven't done my research on it yet, because I try to say that just before the tasting so I don't bring in too much bias.
Right.
But it is, Quinta de Santiago Rosé from Portugal, and that will be really fun. I'm really excited to taste that one and find out a little bit more about that wine. The rest of the wines next week and the following week are, they're not sweet wines. The only demi-sec we had was the first week, which was last week.
Okay.
So, next week from Portugal. So that'll be fun to give it a try.
Yeah. Amazing. And if you haven't already gotten your grape juice mom shipment, go follow.
Never too late.
Never too late. You could follow and you could order it still. And then we're going to be doing this tasting next week, same time. And if you want to join in on Zoom, totally
share the link, because originally we were exclusively inviting the people who subscribe to the shipment. But I've got a lot of people asking about joining our tasting just for fun and maybe asking about how we taste wine. So we're going to extend that invitation next week. And so anybody that wants to join can join. And if you want the rosé, you need to order. But otherwise, you can just join us and watch how we taste.
Amazing.
Yay. So, well, thanks for joining me again, Lauren. And
thank you.
Look forward to next week.
Okay, me too.